What you are seeing right here is not a regular laptop, but rather it is the UPERFECT X14 Pro Lapdock, which essentially converts your smartphone into a proper computer. If you are using a Samsung smartphone or a Huawei or even Motorola smartphone, they have their so-called desktop mode, which can be transformed into a proper desktop experience when you connect to an external display. And this is what the UPERFECT X14 Pro Lapdock is all about, because it has a display, it has a keyboard and a trackpad, and it has ports as well. So if you're someone that is always on mobile and uses your smartphone a lot, but sometimes you just need a proper desktop computer experience, this is the gadget that you might want to take a look. And let's talk about it after using it for 3 weeks. So UPERFECT is a pretty famous company for making external monitors, and what sets them apart from the rest is that they make gadgets like this, which is actually great for mobile workers. In fact, the UPERFECT X14 Pro is not the top of the line laptop that they are selling. In fact, we are supposed to receive a 4K model, but unfortunately that ran out of stock and I didn't get it. But this one right here is still a pretty impressive one. So let's talk about the hardware and I'll show you some of the features that it has, alright? So as you can see, this entire laptop is very well built with a magnesium alloy chassis that feels very similar to MacBooks and other Ultrabooks that you see in the market. It is also very slim and it actually feels pretty heavy as well, because right under the hood it packs a 10,080 mAh battery that is supposed to give you up to 5 hours of usage when you connect your smartphone over to the display here. So in fact, it also charges your smartphone over this USB-C port. As you can see, I've connected to my S23 Ultra, but at a pretty slow rate if you don't connect an external charger. In fact, this only charges at about 15 watts right now, so it's kind of like barely a fast charging output, but yeah, it is what it is, alright? So this laptop comes with a pretty huge touchpad here, which is actually good for gestures and so on, but I kind of wish that they would make this the same color as the chassis to make it look a bit more consistent. They have a very nice keyboard, which actually feels nice to type. It has good key travel and very nice tactile, and the top function row keys are actually very usable as well, which I'm actually a big fan of it. Now turn over to the right side of the laptop. As you can see, you get a power button right here to turn on the laptop. You get a micro SD card slot for storage expansion in case your phone like the S23 Ultra doesn't support micro SD card expansion. You can have that extra storage on right here, and once you connect it to your smartphone, this storage is totally accessible. And finally, you get a USB-C port for charging the laptop, as well as do USB charging pass-through over to your smartphone. And turn over to the left side of the laptop, you get a mini HDMI port, which is not used to output to another device, but rather it is a mini HDMI input device that lets you connect TV boxes, gaming consoles, or even extend your laptop's display onto this display right here. And finally, this USB-C port, which serves as a data port to be connected onto your smartphone. Now, as the product name already suggests, you get a 14-inch IPS panel that pushes a 1080p resolution at 60 Hz, and it supports 10-point multi-touch touch points. And since it is a touchscreen, you can also use the laptop as a tablet, because it is, in fact, a convertible form factor that you can easily just turn it into a slate if you want to. So imagine how great is that. You do not need to own a smartphone and a tablet at the same time, but just buying a phone like the S23 Ultra, you can simply just plug this into your phone and use it as a tablet. Now let's check out the configuration of the UPERFECT X14 Pro. So I'm going to access the on-screen display menu by just using 2 fingers and swipe down on this part of the display. So here you get to adjust the speaker volume, which we'll do a speaker test in a bit. You can adjust the screen brightness right here, contrast, gamma, and switch between different sources. So currently we are on the USB-C input source. We have mini HDMI and wireless casting. You can enable pass-through charging or disable it right here. Enable screen lock as well. It goes off in a bit. So yeah, it basically has a gyroscope inside, so if you flip the tablet around, it will change the display orientation. So heading over to the next page, this is where you can adjust your color space, your color temperature if you want to. So this display basically supports 100% of sRGB color space, and despite having a pretty low brightness of about 250 nits, I'm actually surprised that it supports HDR. You can just enable HDR and watch HDR content right here. So if you're not satisfied with the color space or the color temperature, you can just configure your own RGB levels right here if you want to. So let's go back to the cool color temperature, which I prefer most, and let's head on to the wireless casting setting here, because this is what I want to show you guys because it's amazing. Now, I'm currently connected over to my iPhone 14 Pro, and I basically AirPlay over here, and it's really simple to get it all set up. And let me show you guys how it is done. So I'm just going to stop screen mirroring here, and you can see that there is some great instructions on telling you how you can wirelessly cast your display onto this laptop with an Android, iPhone, or even through a wired connection on other devices. So as for iPhones, all you need to do is to just connect to the laptop's Wi-Fi direct connection, which I've already done it right here. And next, all you need to do is to just go over to the screen mirroring feature and pick the flipbook option right here. So interestingly, you can also use the laptop's keyboard and touchpad if you want to, because these are Bluetooth enabled, by the way. So you can easily just use your iPhone and connect to the laptop's keyboard and trackpad if you want to. So let's head on over here, and once I'm connected, it should just show my iPhone screen pretty quickly. So there you go, it's now online already, and we're just going to play some content to show you guys how great the speaker works. So basically, it does not support Netflix or Apple TV Plus streaming, because apparently you need some license in order to do that for an AirPlay device, but YouTube actually works fine according to my test. So we're just going to play our recent Honor Magic 5 Pro versus Galaxy S23 Ultra video to let you guys hear how well it sounds, okay? They have their respective good designs and top-notch camera systems, but man, they are priced so differently. The Honor Magic 5 Pro retails for 4,299 ringgit, while the S23 Ultra retails at a whopping 6,199 ringgit for the same storage. So which one is the better buy? Let's find out. Now, as you can hear, the loudspeaker actually sounded pretty good when it comes to playing vocals, but not too much on bass. It actually lacks bass. In fact, I would say that there's no bass on these speakers at all, but for the convenience that it offers, I am not complaining at all. So personally, I think the UPERFECT X14 Pro is a really great gadget for those who depends a lot on their smartphone for basic productivity tasks. I mean, this laptop offers up to 5 hours of usage, which I think is pretty common and is similar to some other laptops out there. So this is a great solution for those who really wants to charge the phone at the same time and get productive when they are stopping at a cafe for a drink or so on. So yeah, I totally recommend this. However, there are still things that I think UPERFECT could have done better on this laptop. Now, for instance, it lacks a USB port, which I think is very important, because let's say if I want to connect a flash drive to transfer some files or do some other things on this thing as a productivity machine, it doesn't have an extra USB port, which can be a bummer for some people. The second thing, which is not totally necessary, but I would have hoped that this device would have come with a webcam, because it's not every time that I have a stand like this to put my phone here, and most of the time my phone is going to be flat on the table. So if I were to do conference call, I'll have to prop up my phone and to use the front camera to do conference calls. So having a webcam right here would be actually a great addition. So UPERFECT, I know you guys are watching this. This is probably a great suggestion that you can implement on your product the next time. Last but not least, I wish the charging output of the USB-C port is higher, because if you connect to the S23 Ultra, for instance, it is going to suck up a lot of power. So having 15 watts of charging output is definitely not sufficient for it to get up to more than 15% of power when you're fully using your phone's processing power on this laptop here. So they could probably increase it to about 25 watts, because that's, I think, a reasonable power output for a smartphone like this. Otherwise, the user experience of this gadget entirely depends on the smartphone that you're using. Personally, I prefer Samsung DeX, because I think that is the most optimized desktop interface that they have done on a mobile phone, and I think it's something that everybody would like to use as well. But do keep in mind that not all apps work well on Samsung DeX as well. So unless you know what you're getting into and you know how to make full use of this gadget, This is a recommended purchase from me. It only costs about $380 and if you enter this coupon code right here, you can actually get $40 off on courtesy of UPERFECT. All for my thoughts on the UPERFECT X14 Pro Lapdock. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below and be sure to use that coupon code to get a $40 off your purchase if you're interested in getting one. As for now, thanks for watching, stay tuned to the next video on the channel and I'll see you guys in the next one.